Hey kids, this is Aaron from the podcast that wouldn't die, and Kevin and I use Zencastr. You think you're better than us, that you're using something else? You're wrong. Zencastr's the place to be. Who are you to deny it?
It's now super easy to record a podcast with Zencastr. Log in using your browser and start recording a high-quality podcast right away. Record studio-quality sound and up to 4K video with your guests. Go to zencastr.com/pricing and use our code DIEHARD and you'll get 30% off your first month of any Zencastr paid plan. We want you to have the same experiences we do for all our podcasting and content needs. It's time for you to share your story.
Only a fool would give up a chance for a 30% discount.
Have you ever dreamt of a better version of yourself? Younger, more beautiful, more perfect. One single injection unlocks your DNA and will release another version of yourself.
Welcome to the latest episode of the podcast that wouldn't die. I'm your host, Kevin. With me, as always, is Aaron.
Howdy!
This week on the podcast, we're just going to discuss the new classic, The Substance, starring Demi Moore and Margaret Qualley, and Dennis Quaid is in this. I almost forgot about it. Good grief.
Yeah, but now all I'm gonna think is he has a beehole for a mouth. That's all I'm gonna remember. I no longer remember how sexy he was in The Big Easy, showing off his rumpus. All I'm gonna think about is his beehole lips with like food dangling out.
That was
Oh
such
my
a
God.
gross scene.
Could they have made any more close-ups to his mouth? It's like he was literally spewing bullshit.
Well, because he was eating those shrimp and licking his fingers and
God,
like the
God,
sauce.
God.
And
It was vomitosis.
it was vomitosis.
And we should not confuse this movie with The Stuff.
No, we should not. Very, very different. Anyway, each week on the podcast that wouldn't die, we discuss guilty pleasures, forgotten classics of the horror and sci-fi genres with a comedic twist. Aaron, what's the latest? What's going on with you?
Well, I just drank a big cup of Gruel Vine that I got at Aldi for a mere $8. Quite delicious.
What
You
is
might like it,
Gruel
'cause
Vine?
Gruel Vine is like a mulled wine.
Oh,
It's
I
got
see.
red wine with like sugar and cinnamon and spices and stuff. It's
Kind of a
really
holiday treat.
like it's a holiday treat. It's more there's so much sugar, it's more like a Kool-Aid. I'm drinking spice Kool-Aid. It still has alcohol in it. What am I doing? I'm almost free.
Free at
I'm ready to
last.
go on vacation. Tomorrow is my last full day of work. God bless us all, everyone.
That's not bad at all. I'm working until Friday. So I got
No,
a
I'm
full
working
week's.
until Friday, but it's minimum days because we have finals Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So I'm out at 1.
I have to say, in the last week, I had 2 different people ask me if I want to play Santa. I don't know if it's because of my bowl full of jelly and my snowy white beard, but is it?
You're an awfully thin Santa Claus.
That's what I tell myself. But again, 2 different people, 2 different situations came up to me and said, "Hey, would you be interested in being Santa this year?" So
It's because you're probably the only man at your school.
that's yes, I am the only man at the school, in the school of the Amazon princess. Is that what you're saying? Where we only keep one man around. It's like
It's Xena Warrior Princess. It's a charter school.
it is the Wicker Man school. Is basically what it is.
Oh,
Just one man.
dude. Speaking of the Wicker Man,
Yes.
I think I'm becoming obsessed with Midsummer. I might have to order. A24 is tracking me and sends me shit constantly. Like I have to buy the little incense burner And I can only hope that the pellets that you light look like her little boyfriend stuffed inside the bear
Oh,
costume
sweet Jesus.
that you light on fire.
I will say again, I thought Midsummer was very entertaining. I do not need to see any other movies by Ari Aster. First Hereditary, and then Midsummer. I'm good.
Okay, first of all, Hereditary was really good.
They're really good movies, but they're the most upsetting movies.
Midsummer was less upsetting than Hereditary. You gotta X gonna give it to you.
It was definitely less, but it was when the old people jump off the ledge and get the hammer. That was something serious. I was like, I think we're good.
Dude, those Swedes, they don't around.
They don't. I think we can all agree on that. No, I've said this before. I like things light, even my horror movies. I like light horror movies. When it gets too upsetting, it's less fun for me. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
So,
a little too Rob Zombie, a little too Eli Roth.
Right, but it doesn't have to be kind of carnage, because I can slide into a Fulci every now and again.
Fulci used to traumatize me. Oh, zombie. That's all I gotta say.
And The Beyond,
right in the theater.
The Beyond, I love. The Beyond, I if you haven't seen The Beyond, Aaron, you and I have reviewed it, although you probably don't remember it. It is so bonkers and off the wall.
I had to prepare myself psychologically to watch it, and I survived. But when I saw a zombie in like high school, I was like, I literally almost threw up. When they were like eating the entrails, I was like, I'm gonna start vomiting in the theater.
No,
but I didn't leave. I stayed.
It's a thing. It's a thing. But I will say this: you think Zombie's bad? The Fulci movie, which is called either City of the Living Dead or The Gates of Hell, that is the vomit comment. That is you think Zombie's bad? The other City of the Living.
I'm too scared now. I'm not gonna watch.
Don't.
It. No,
I won't even watch that one.
I am not a Fulci fan.
It depends. Again, I think The Beyond. I remember watching it the first time. I was concerned because I still had because I was in college when I saw The Gates of Hell, and I'm just like, oh Jesus, I still remembered that. The Beyond is actually not that bad. Comparatively speaking, it's not. I don't think it's even as gory as Zombie, right? And it has.
I just don't understand how 5 people who've been dead for hundreds of years can be still so juicy.
100%. Zombie. They're Spanish conquistador zombies, right?
With a 4/4 time beat. It's
like totally.
Burned into my skull. Burned in since
Absolutely.
I was a sophomore in high school.
I mean, make no mistake. Even the lightest of Fulci movies, there's going to be a couple stomach churners. But I would say
even his dark comedies.
Even his dark comedies, the slapstick, 100%. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Aaron, give us your 30-second synopsis of The Substance.
I gotta tell you, I was down for this movie about 3/4 of the way. Fascinating. Anyway, Hollywood chick, big in her youth, but now she's 50 and doing fucking Jane Fonda workout videos.
Now she's 60, by the way. Let's not call her now she's 50.
Said she was 50. I thought it said she was 50.
Bullshit.
Are you sure?
I know how old Demi Moore is.
Demi Moore in real life, but I mean the character. Did it say 60?
I don't know. I just know it's Demi Moore.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I think they were playing her off as 50. So she was too old. They wanted to get rid of her. And she's very passive. She's sad. She doesn't argue about it. She gets injured and a man slips her a note. And he's like, you'd be perfect for this. So finally, she's just moping around, not a word to say, makes the call. And it's The Substance. It turns out the substance is it creates two of you. There's you, then there's like the mo better you. It's not you, it doesn't look like you, but like a younger, big ass person with huge tits crawls out of your back like the Manitou. And you guys got to alternate time. 7 days for this one, 7 days for this one. But the problem is Demi Moore has just so unraveled in her own brain that she's not even leaving her house. She has no confidence in herself. She won't leave. She's too insecure to do anything. And the fresh her is disgusted by old her. And when we say her and her, there is only one, as they keep repeating in the story. There is only one. Don't start believing there's a second person bebopping around. That's you, motherfucker. That is you. Well, hot you is disgusted by old you, and they're like, this, I'm not coming back after 7 days. I'm literally having sex with all the people who tried to destroy me, and it, and now I'm just not going to go back. But eventually they run out of sauce, so she has to switch. It's the only way to recharge. But guess what? Poor Demi Moore, every time young Demi Moore is gone too long, she gets like liver spots. Looks like she had a stroke or someone poured wax on her face. She's starting to look like a shit pie is what's happening. And she's complaining about the other person without the concept is you are doing this to yourself.
Which are you just doing the whole movie or what's happening?
That's like 30 seconds. But when you think about all this trauma is shit you're doing to yourself. The end. That's what happens. Everyone's don't do the substance. It sounds like a terrible idea.
Now, this was our first. We watched it together.
Right.
Over
so
the.
I have no notes.
We neither one of us have any notes. But what's funny about it is this was one of those sleeper hits. Like the people were talking about, people in the biz were like, you got to see The Substance. You got to see The Substance. And a buddy of mine had come back and just gone to the movies and saw The Substance and came to me. He's just like, bro, if you haven't seen The Substance, you got to see it. So we watched it at home.
Because it's just bare asses the entire time. Let's be straight.
He didn't mention that.
Let's be straight.
He didn't mention
There's
that.
pubic hair and bare asses. And it's not the actual actresses, which seems like another play on Hollywood.
Yes.
They literally Frankenstein body parts from other women.
They had body doubles.
So it appears that it's theirs.
Right. They had multiple.
She's the tit body double. She's the big ass body double. It is exactly what they were complaining about that they did.
Correct. So no question. The moment we got, you know what? Let's just jump right the hell back in. So you're right.
If you like a lot of nudity and thinking you're seeing Demi Moore buck naked, which you're probably not.
You're probably
but
not.
If you want to pretend you were, then this is the movie for you.
Well, and the thing about it is, it's like you see Demi Moore and you see Margaret Qualley naked, but it's when they do the close-ups, it's like now you're seeing every little, how do I even say it? It's like Demi Moore probably looks great for a woman of her age. No question.
She said like a razor blade,
right. But then they would zoom in.
Then they use someone, she has like a flat ass, like it's got a thing hanging over it. I'm like, she's got nipples the size of my thumb. I mean, I don't think this is all her.
Correct.
I was like, oh my God.
Yes.
Those are, God bless us all. I don't mean to shame anyone.
No.
As a woman, I have seen other women naked. But those are the biggest nipples I've ever seen in my
Well, they
life.
were like long and like drooping down.
I think if you concentrate, you could probably control them, and maybe they'd help.
They were like
They're
hooks.
prehensile.
They were like,
They're like hooks. You could probably have one hold a pen, and the other one could hold your coffee.
I was literally looking at it going, is that a thing? Is that what happens to people of a certain age where your just nipples will go out 6 inches and just hanging down? What the hell is happening?
I don't think your nipples start growing when you get older. I think either you have big nipples or you do not. But if you want, you can start on the family computer and start. How long is the longest nipple?
I will not be doing that. I will not be doing that. The thing about that's ridiculous about it, though, is that she was the host of her own exercise program. So that was on every day or something. So it's like she should have been like Jack LaLanne or somebody, right? Even if she's at an older age, she still should have been, tight and fit and all sorts of stuff. But it's like suddenly she's fired and now she's like dumpy, which doesn't make any goddamn sense. And
hey, wait a second.
Oh no, Aaron!
The world record for the longest nipple hair is 6 inches, 6.7 inches, and belonged to an Italian man.
Shocker! Where do I write that down? Are you sitting down? The longest chest hair in the world is from an Italian man. Really? Anyway,
the heaviest weight lifted by nipples is 71 pounds and was achieved by a man in Finland.
Oh my God, Aaron, we got to move on. This is going to give me nightmares.
And nipples are the first thing to grow on an embryo. I couldn't find the longest nipple in the world.
Okay. Well, we'll just leave that up to our listeners. But I
all
mean,
nipples all the time.
So she's in a minor car accident, and somebody slips the kind of a zip drive, thumb drive into her pocket. And evidently, this company that does the substance just do it out of the kindness of their heart. There was never a scene where she had to write a check.
No checks written. No idea what this costs. She does have to, like, even with her legs are all cracked and scraggly. She still has to go to this mail drop place in an abandoned warehouse to get the nourishment for when you're unconscious for 7 days.
So we need to explain how this works. So what it is you call the number, and like you said, you go to like an abandoned train station or some kind of underground bunker, and there's a box, so they're not mailing it to you. It's not going through the mail. But you open it up, and there are really no directions. I remember watching this.
There are less instructions than IKEA.
Oh, absolutely. It was horrible. But she gives herself the injection of the substance. And then there's all sorts of weird things. I'm like, would you even know what to do? But miraculously, she figures it out. She gives herself the shot. Her back opens up, and a younger, theoretically more attractive person crawls out. Then that person is supposed to sew the back up closed with like some fishing wire that they were nice enough to include.
God.
Yeah.
It's like a Frankenstein scar going up her spine.
100%. And
how does that even happen? Right.
It makes no sense. So what happens is it's one brain. It's one personality. Okay.
One consciousness.
When the younger you is walking around, then the older you is just passed out on the bathroom floor. And you think you would care enough for your body to not just leave it curled up in a ball on the cold tile. But no, not so much. Good grief.
Right. So she just ends up hating herself more and more. So each time, whoever is out and about could give a shit about the other one.
Correct.
So yeah, cold floor. Why don't they have hypothermia or something?
Right. Or just bed sores.
Not even a blanket, mat, something.
Nothing. So she when one's walking around, the other's just plopped on the floor, essentially. And when you're in your young body, you have to take a huge needle and jam it into the spine of the matrix of the original body, suck out a gallon of some kind of
A
spinal
gallon
fluid,
of juice.
a gallon of juice, and then you're supposed to each day give yourself a shot of it to stabilize your young form. Like there's a whole like rule. Meanwhile, your unconscious form, they jam a syringe in your arm, and there's like some kind of food, something that just comes in through the IV that the thing lives on.
I think it's Soylent Pink.
It's 100% Soylent Pink. But the rule is it's 7 weeks on, then you switch or 7 weeks, 7 days.
7 days.
7 days, and then you switch and have to live as the other person for 7 days, and you alternate. And if you do that, everything's fine, theoretically. But like you said, after living it up as the young, attractive, new version of yourself, you're not always in such a hurry to jump back into your original body. And that's where problems occur.
Right. Every time she comes back from being young, or she wakes up as the young person, the apartment is filthy. Demi Moore is just cooking weird shit, and then she's smearing grease on the windows and covering it with newspaper. The place is destroyed every time.
Right.
Because she hates herself, so she doesn't want to see. There's a billboard right outside the window of her younger self.
Correct. So it's basically Demi Moore has been, living high on the hog. She was an Academy Award-winning actress or whatever. But she was so career-driven, I think we're supposed to think that she has no relationships. She has no friends. She has nothing going on.
Nothing going on at all. Nobody wants to see her. Nobody's her friend. She sits alone.
Sits alone in her penthouse or whatever it is. And because she's kind of self-loathing, she kind of mistreats herself. So meaning she's like eating slop all day, just watching TV, not doing anything.
Literally, there's like a TV, a side table, and a chair with just empty food all around it.
Correct. So it is kind of like a drug addiction in the sense like there's one personality, but they act like they're two different personalities, and they like start to like hate each other and are angry with each other.
Demi Moore calls up the company to complain. She's doing this. There is no she. There is only you.
There's only you.
But she's doing no. There is no she. There's only you.
Right. So that's the thing, and it starts to turn because basically there was a casting call for a new morning workout host. Somebody young, what did they say, between 18 and 30 is what they were looking for. So now,
half the age of Demi.
Correct. So now that she's young, she goes in there and, of course, knocks their socks off, and now she's living high on the hog, essentially. And the scene, it all turns because she's got a dude that she's ready to get down to Pound Town with, but she's like the buzzer is sounded, basically, because now it's like her nose starts bleeding because if you don't stabilize yourself with the spinal fluid, then you start to something bad. There's some side effects.
Meanwhile, your other self, the food has run out
because she's not paying attention. So it's like literally, it's like a vacuum bag is just like totally like emptied of every ounce of nutrients. So she's
like, I don't give a shit. So she goes and steals more till finally, passed out Demi just has like an oozy, rusted sore that when she finally tries to draw some more out, it's like putrid and rotten. And she's calling the company, there seems to be something wrong.
Correct.
They're like, bruh, you gotta cycle back.
She basically took an extra day from Demi's body so that she could go have sex with this rando. And then the next morning when they switch, now Demi Moore's got some weird claw hand. It's like old arthritic.
Got like a dead finger.
That's what it was.
She has a finger. like a finger of 100-year-old person.
An old
So
rotten finger.
did we learn that lesson? No, because now she's gone for 6 months. She's
Right.
so sick of old Demi Moore that she buckles down for 6 months, and that's where you get the Uzi back, and then finally the spinal is tapped out, and they're like, the company's like, no, you got to stabilize, you got to go and cycle again. There's nothing you can do,
And you
so
can't
she's like,
reverse it.
wah, wah,
You can't
wah.
reverse it.
Yeah,
It's all in
which
balance.
sucks. It sucks. It's all about the balance, but nothing really bad seems to happen to the young version. Just more shit happens to the poor old person.
But that's the thing, is that the young person can only survive by the graces of the old person, meaning you have to have that fluid. And if you alternate like you're supposed to, then that week gives them time to recharge. But if you just suck them dry, eventually there's a scene where it's like New Year's Eve or whatever. She's supposed to be on the Dick Clark Rockin' Eve, whatever the hell that show is.
Yeah.
And she tries to go get a shot, like one more shot to get her through the day, and it's just like old black, yellow glove. It barely fills a little thing. It was so gross.
Disgusting.
So disgusting.
So disgusting.
But it's just like you have to go back. So she does, but now she's like an old twisted crone. Looking like a hunchback.
Well, she had a stroke in an eye. Her joints don't bend. She had to like snap it.
Oh God!
Oh my God!
It was a horrible situation.
And then she calls the company. She's like, "I'm out. I'm out."
Right.
So they send her the kit, so you can opt out at any time.
Correct. They essentially, if you do what you're supposed to do, then you go back and forth and everything's fine. But if at any time you're like, I'm done, they won't send you any more supplies. Again, there's no money changing hands. There's no explanation as to who the substance people are, how they created the formula, why they're just giving it away. I mean, this is America. You'd think there'd be give me something. But anyway, they send her like a black syringe, and you're supposed to give that syringe and just shoot.
It's like Uma Thurman right into the heart. Poof.
Right into the heart. And it seems like she gives her like a 3/4 dose and then has second thoughts. Because she's just like, because now, what's the point? What's the point of quitting now? Because before she was a reasonably attractive older lady, and now she's Gollum from Lord of the Rings.
She is the Gollum. She's a hideous crone now. Ain't no go. You thought you didn't want to walk around when you were 50, 60? No. Now you're 102 and a monster.
I mean, that's the thing. It's like you might as well just. But that's the thing, is that she can't. In a way, she can't trust her younger self, not to continue abusing the
She can't
privilege.
trust herself.
Right. That's what it is. So it's like if you keep doing this, you think you're jacked up now. You're going to be like like a mummy or something. It's going to be like the the grandfather in Texas Chainsaw Massacre, where you're just like some kind of mummified monster. So
there's no juice inside that old man. You can't dip your straw in that.
You can't. So now they both wake. So then the young version is awake, just pops up awake in mid murder, and the crone is still awake. Go ahead.
I think they gave her a shot. Didn't she pull out something?
It was a 3/4 shot.
And then she changed her mind, but she was kind of dead. So then she gave her something.
So that's later
to revitalize.
I don't think she revitalized her. She weirdly snapped out of it, and they got into a fight, and she basically
no. Are you sure? I thought they went back to the cabin and there was some of the original juice left.
That was later, because her teeth were falling out, and she's like, well, I got to do something. So the young version, basically in a rage, murders the crone. But the problem is you can't do that, because she's got the spinal fluid that you need to maintain. Okay, so she goes to the studio to start filming, and her teeth are popping out like chiclets.
Oh yeah. Chicle.
Chicle. And there's a point where Dennis Quaid's like, hey, good looking, let me get a big smile from you. So she does the big closed mouth smile because she's got no GD teeth. But her plan...
I notice in horror movies like Poltergeist, if my teeth are loose, I'm not going to sit there and try to yank them all out.
Oh, no. That was some shit. So her plan is, I'm going to run home, and I'm going to, because there's a little bit left in the vial, even though it says single use, there's like a little squirt left in the original vial that she took way back when of the substance. I'm going to give myself a shot of that, and then a young, beautiful version will climb out of my back, and then we'll be back in business. Or so she thinks.
Or so she thinks is right.
And what's funny about this part of the movie is that there were times where the movie could have just ended. Like at a normal point where it's just like, you know what? I've used the plunger. Oh no, now it's dead, but I'm old and I'm having a heart attack. They could have just ended it in a normal sort of way.
And it would have been better.
And it would have, let's just say it would have been fine. They don't do that. So there's a lot of moments, a lot of off ramps that they're kind of passing. Like, nope, not leaving yet. Not leaving yet.
Nope, not exiting the freeway then. I'm still going.
Still going. And it really hits
more tail to the tail.
Absolutely. It really goes to a head when she injects herself with the last bit of the substance. And her back opens up and a creature.
Blobby McBlobworth.
A blobby creature with it's like Rocky Dennis and the Elephant Man all whirled into one. It's just like an arm sticking over here and an arm.
Dude, it was the thing. It was the thing.
100%. And in the back, there's like Demi Moore's face, just kind of like ah. So it's evidently this thing is, let's just say, not entirely with it, because you think she'd look at herself and be like, well, this isn't working out the way I hoped. Instead,
there might have been some cognitive problems, because the other thing is Blobby McBlobworth doesn't go sew up the back of the chick from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Does not. Well, that's
with her flippers or appendages, whatever she has.
Correct. I mean, because I saw that movie Multiplicity with Michael Keaton, where it's like, it's bad enough to have a copy of the original, but when you get a copy of a copy, the shit goes downhill quick. So that's basically what it is. So she's kind of squeezing herself back into the New Year's Eve dress that she was going to wear. And she's like pulling fabric over, and you see Demi Moore's face going, as the fabric like goes, because she's in her back or whatever. She goes back to the studio. And
yeah, she's like, oh shit! It's time for my big thing. So she rolls up to the studio, ready to do her thing, looking like Blobby McBlobby.
And she's having delusions, because there's multiple scenes where people are like applauding when she walks in. Oh, it's so great to see you. Thank you very much. And
I'm ready for my close-up, Mr. DeMille.
Totally. She staggers on stage where it's like showgirls dancing, and she's a monster. Some people are like, what is that? Kill it. And it caps it off because she's got...
They start trying to kill it. I'm like, it's clearly somebody with some malformations, but the audience is like, let's kill it.
Well, it goes down, because she's got like an eye, and the eye kind of opens up, and like a weird like nipple kind of crawls out of her eye socket, and then just drops out.
Like it's a boob with a sperm tail blops out of the eye. It's a lot of boobs, as we said in the show.
It was, and that's when the shit goes wild. Some guy tries to kill her. Her arm falls off, and just a fire hose of blood is just like spraying the audience for 20 goddamn minutes.
Oh my God, it was like a fire hose. It just made so fucking sense. What's happening? It's like, what the
It was
like
what
20 minutes. This is like a 20-minute ending of nonsense.
Right. And eventually she staggers out, wandering, and her leg just snaps off, and she falls face forward onto the street and just explodes.
Bloop.
And now it's just kind of
Until
go ahead.
What's left of her blobby face, it's Demi Moore's face with like a fried egg with glop, and it lands on her old jacked up star in Hollywood. And if you've ever been to the Hollywood Walk of Fame, it is disgusting and filthy, and like monsters live on top of it.
Correct.
And it lands there until it just decays and is swept up. Which is a lie, because I'm pretty sure nobody's sweeping that Walk of Fame. There's literally like a person cooking hot dogs right on top of it.
Oh, 100%. 100%. No, it's because the movie is basically a body horror, David Cronenberg type film, is what it is. But it really hammers it in the final moments where she's a mutant walking around with like a cutout of Demi Moore's normal face kind of glued onto her mutant face.
In her mutant poor cognitive mutant self decided no one will figure this out.
Right.
I just have a cut piece of paper on my face of Demi Moore.
Well, when people are screaming, she's like, no, it's me. It's me. Yeah, I don't think they give a damn at this stage of the game, but thank you. Thanks for playing. And that's the end of the movie. That's the end of The Substance. So, sweet Jesus.
It was like a thought-provoking and interesting, and then you're like, what the it just becomes ridiculous at the end.
Yeah, and no question. It goes off the rails in a way I normally approve of, honestly. But it was so bizarre.
I was waiting for the pineal gland to come out.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
It was like basket case all grown up.
It was.
All grown up.
No question. No question.
Ready for his close-up.
Okay, why don't we go ahead and go behind the scenes, shall we?
Yes.
Ray Liotta was cast in the film in February 2022, but he died in May that year before he could film his scenes. So Dennis Quaid.
Did you say Ray Liotta?
Ray Liotta. Margaret Qualley revealed in interviews that her breasts in the movie are not her own. They are prosthetics designed by French makeup artist Pierre-Olivier Percy.
Can you imagine? What does it say on his business card? Breasts are us. Le boob.
Demi Moore said she was nervous about filming full nudity at age 59 and felt vulnerable. But she credited co-star Margaret Qualley, who was 29 at the time of filming and portrayed a younger version of her character, for making her feel comfortable on set.
I'm not sure how someone half your age who's rocking it all and is as thin as a wisp, making you feel more secure.
They were both, because they were both bone-ass naked, dancing around, and they both had crazy body doubles and prosthetics.
Yeah.
So... You were right, by the way. Elizabeth Sparkle turns 50 years old. Demi Moore, who portrays the character, was almost 60 at the time of shooting the film. So you were right.
Yeah.
Because I am almost 50. So there you
go. You're like Demi Moore. It's over. So the principal, whose lips look like an anus, will soon be calling you in to give you the heave-ho.
100%. Sweet Jesus. Let's see. This is the first body horror film ever to be permitted to screen in Vietnam, with only 1 minute and 30 seconds being cut, according to the distributor. So there you go.
Well, that is something.
This is movies' highest grossing release.
Is it the nipples that were removed? Is that what?
Yes. They had to cut that out, thankfully. This is Mubi's highest grossing release. Shocking. Because I didn't even know it existed last week. So that's something.
Mubi? Booby, see? Who the f*** owned Mubi? I mean, you keep talking. I'm going to Google this. I gotta have the science.
Please don't. Demi Moore worked alongside Margaret Qualley's mother, Andie MacDowell, in St. Elmo's Fire in 1985.
That's right. I keep forgetting that because she really doesn't look like Andie MacDowell. When I see her, I don't think Andie MacDowell.
No, you don't. I mean, she kind of has the same hair and the same teeth, but the rest of her face does not look anything like Andie MacDowell. Let's see. Some of these things are baloney. Let's see, spoilers. The film is partly inspired by Oscar Wilde's The Picture of Dorian Gray. Okay.
I guess. I'm thinking they made that up afterwards.
Could be. Demi Moore said that her prosthetics took between 6 to 9 hours to apply and that then they could only work a few hours. One of the reasons behind the short working schedule was because the prosthetics were delicate and would only last a limited amount of time or takes.
My nipple prosthetics are delicato.
Delicato. Oh, sweet. Qualley also had prosthetic makeup, and according to her, the process was torture to having put that stuff on. So.
Having a big ass, yeah.
We didn't even talk. It is literally asses on parade. We talked about the boobs. It is much more ass
on
fashion.
Parade. Here we go. No, it is ass level 99% of the time.
Yes.
We're deep in. Because if they're not showing an ass, they're showing the anus of Dennis Quaid.
Would you shut up about Dennis Quaid's anus? For God's sakes.
I loud. It's in my brain. It's just an anus. If they could zoom in, they'd be all the way the other end of the tube, and I would be looking at his actual anus. But it was just extreme close-ups. It was so upsetting. So upsetting.
Let's look at the cast and crew, shall we? Written and directed by Coralie Fargeat, and I'm sure I butchered her name. She's a French writer-director. She is known for 2024's The Substance. She directed something called Revenge in 2017. Directed the short Reality Plus in 2014. And in 2003, directed the short Le Telegram. There you go.
I think that's French for telegram.
That is. You're bilingual. Let's see. Okay. Demi Moore played Elizabeth Sparkle. You know her from such things as G.I. Jane in 1997.
Never saw it.
Indecent Proposal. I saw it.
I saw
Indecent
that.
Proposal in 1993.
I didn't see what the big deal was. I remember going to my husband. I'm like, dude, $1 million, we all get a pass, right? We're clear on that, right?
What if it was about $500? Then do you get, is there a pass for that, or?
Well, that's open for discussion. But I mean, you don't even have to ask if it's $1 million. If Robert Redford wants to do my ex-husband, that's fine.
That's fine. She was in Ghost in 1990 and Charlie's Angels Full Throttle in 2003.
I don't think I saw that.
Goodness gracious. Yeah, I saw all those movies. Margaret Qualley played Sue. Sue, the alter ego of Demi Moore. You know her from, she played Pussycat in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood in 2019.
And she was great. She was great. She
played
was all Manson-y.
Anne Reinking. She played Anne Reinking in Fosse Verdon, 5 episodes. Do you remember Anne Reinking?
Yes, because she was in what was that movie about his life? That Roy Scheider played it.
All That Jazz.
All That Jazz. Anne Reinking is in that, playing herself.
Well, she was also in Annie. Remember that movie? Way from 100 years ago. She was the kindly social worker, whatever the hell she was in that movie.
Oh, was she? By the way, Fosse Verdon is amazing.
I've heard it's good. I haven't seen it, though.
No, it's
Um,
really, really good. You don't have to be a fan of musical comedy. It's just great. And it's Ryan Reynolds,
she
so what do you know?
You can't go wrong. She was in something called Kenzo World in
No,
2016
I don't
and
know what that is.
Novitiate,
No.
Sister Kathleen in 2017, whatever that is.
Maybe
Let's
she'll play a
see.
nun in, the new version of, the guy with the
Okay.
scooter. Wee!
You can't crack yourself up before you get the information out. Are you talking about the Pope's exorcist? Still
Yes!
poping? Okay.
He's poping along
Perhaps.
his Vespa from Rome to, Spain.
Poping along at the bottom of the beautiful briny sea. Uh, Dennis Quaid was in this playing Harvey. You know him
Harvey
from such
Weinstein.
things. 100%.
Had to be,
He was in
right?
he, he was in Far From Heaven in 2002, which is wildly
Un
depressing.
Unfamiliar.
Uh,
And I don't wanna see
he
anything
was
wildly depressing.
he was in The Day After Tomorrow in 2004. He was in
Was that followed
Frequency
by
in
A Week from
2000.
Tuesday?
See you next Tuesday. He was
Hey there, Tiger.
he, he played Lieutenant Tuck Pendleton in Inner Space in 1987.
Oh, Lord.
So, anybody else you want to know from the cast of The Substance?
Don't Giza.
Don't Giza. Let's look at the rating, shall we?
That's
The Substance currently is rated at 90% certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. Do you know what the audience gave it?
78.
75. Very good. Let's look at the top critics here. We've got Amy Nicholson from the Los Angeles Times, who says, if it weren't for Moore and Quayle hurling themselves into the shared role, it'd be as flat as a Scotch tape pinup. If it weren't for Moore, I'm not even sure it would work. That's a positive review, evidently.
I
Okay,
guess, but
fair.
it's not nonsensical. Anybody could have done the Demi Moore role. She is
Demi
so
Less.
passive and yeah, Demi Less. She's so passive. She barely speaks. Could have been anyone. She didn't really take over the role.
Peter Travers of ABC News says, Demi Moore seizes the role of her lifetime as a movie star turned fitness guru who gets axed for committing the cardinal sin of aging. You've never seen anything like the body horrors in Coralie Fargeet's gory and glorious takedown of youth obsession.
I beg to differ. I believe I have seen things like this and or worse. So
Or
that's a
worse.
lie.
Aaron, what is your rating for The Substance?
I would say the first 3/4 would be 3.75. But the last freak out drops it down to 2.5.
Okay.
Check it out. Check it out.
I enjoyed it.
Well, I
say,
was into it for 3/4 of the way.
but see, you kind of jumped off when it went totally buck wild, and my attitude is that's when it all comes together. No.
I didn't totally pan it. It has a right to exist. I'm sure if we dig into it, there'll be some pretentious super meaning for all of this, but
No,
it was
I
entertaining.
it was definitely entertaining. I'm going to give it 3.5 out of 5. It's not a movie that I'm dying to watch multiple times in the future, but I thought the
You
performances were
didn't buy
good.
it?
I did not buy it. I didn't even pay for it. It was the 7-day free trial of Mubi that
We're
allowed me
running
to
out
see
of
it. I
places
enjoyed it.
that'll let us do that anymore, bastards.
I would recommend seeing it. I think it's good. And I would love to get other people's opinion of the final act where shit gets real, where suddenly it's just fire hoses and swamp creatures.
Just Demi
Anywho.
Moore's pancake face on top of the Walk of Fame,
Well,
desiccating and drying out.
and honestly, it's like, and I don't disagree with what you said. How Demi Moore, you kind of don't even get a performance later in the movie. You know what I mean? It seems like the
No.
prosthetics are kind of doing most of the work. It seems
Yeah.
like. So, there
I
you
mean,
have
don't get me
it.
wrong,
Good
she
times.
looks great. She looks great, but her character is just so passive that there's really not anything that she's making stand out that somebody else couldn't also have done. You know what I mean? She
Yeah,
didn't
and,
own it.
and Margaret Qualley it was fine. I don't typically care for her all that much, if I'm being honest, but she did well. The movie's much more about the body slops. That's what
Yeah.
that's what this is all about.
Sloppy
So,
jalopies.
sloppy jalopy
And butts. And butts.
and butts and butts. Whoever the director is, they like big butts, and I cannot lie.
They cannot lie. Definitely an ass person.
Any last thoughts of The Substance before we move on?
I already forgot what we were talking about.
Fair enough. So, thank you very much. You can see us across most of the interwebs. We're on Blue Sky, we're on Threads, TikTok, Instagram. We're on YouTube at this very moment. You can
Tubi,
email
Mubi,
Booby.
Booby.
You can email us the podcast that would die at Gmail.
Gmail.
We are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere the finer podcasts are available. So don't forget to like, share, rate, and review. Won't you?
Won't you please?
Aaron, what is your social media situation?
I got some media. I mean, hit me up on the Instagram, and by hit me up, I mean, you know, you can look at my stuff. Don't send me any messages. Send all correspondence goes to Kevin. He is my personal secretary.
Is that what
But
it is?
feel free to follow me. I'm on the gram, the Cult of Aaron. Join the cult.
Boom! So check that good stuff out. Aaron, as we all know, we like to share people's thoughts and feelings across the interwebs. What do we have from our friends out there?
We got two people. Amelia Bedelia wrote to me, wanted to know, when are we going to do Cannibal Holocaust? And why is Kevin suppressing you and not allowing you to review this?
I'm a
Kevin,
suppressive person.
what do you say to Amelia?
I'm suppressive.
You're a suppressive person.
That's right. I'm a suppressive individual.
Oh, and Mrs. Pigglewiggle also wrote in and is requesting that maybe we should do Heretic. Heretic. What do you think about that?
I saw Heretic. I would definitely do the Heretic. Add it to the list.
All right. The magical list, the Heretic.
There you go. Boom shakalaka. Now, next week, I honestly don't know when this episode's dropping, but we have a Christmas episode where we're going to be discussing the immortal Christmas classic, Gremlins.
God, I tell you, you've made me watch this 50 times. How is it possible that we have never put this on the podcast? Why would I have seen this recently?
We did Ghoulies. We did Critters.
Maybe it's all blending.
It's all blending. It's all blending. And we have not done Gremlins. So we're doing that now. It's
all
with
right.
Zach Galligan and Phoebe Cates and Corey Feldman's in there as well, and a little Mogwai named Gizmo. So you have that to look forward to.
Speaking of Corey Feldman, you know, he's out touring right now, rocking and rolling
and whatnot. You can check out his band, but I will not be doing that. So anyway, Send in your
Dude,
favorite
I think that
scenes.
would be a perfect family event. Are you telling me that if he was in town and I could get tickets, we would be there, wouldn't we?
Well, first of
get
all,
Tara.
what constitutes in town? What do you mean in Bakersfield?
Within 45 minutes of your house.
If he was playing down the street and the tickets were free, I would probably go and say, "What's he doing out there? Is that Skrillex?"
Is it Skrillex or is it Corey Feldman?
Who's to say? Are they the same person? Anyway, send in your favorite scenes, favorite quotes, comments, and questions about Gremlins, which you can watch on Max and a variety of other places.
Mubi?
So, on Pooby. It's definitely on Pooby. Let us know what you think, and we may talk about it on the show. So,
Oh, we will.
thank you very much, and be well.
Be well, children.